And welcome back to the show. Joining us now from the Vail Police Department, I've got Eric Bonta. Eric, thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate you having me.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Thanks for all you guys do.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. We can talk about credit card fraud. Obviously, it's bigger than we think. Unless you've been affected by it, you may not really know what it's all about. So could you give us some of the details?
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that happens everywhere. More people than not are becoming affected by it, and we're seeing a lot of it in the Valley this year especially. So I just wanted to give the viewers some tips for customers and then some tips for the vendors. So the first thing obviously is just keep tabs on your bank accounts. Make sure that you are aware of the statement, look at all the charges and make sure there's nothing that doesn't appear out of whack.
Right.
The earlier you can do that, the better, obviously.
Now sometimes I feel like now some of the credit card companies are notifying the owner of the credit card if there's an interesting charge from another state from where you live.
Exactly, yeah. So it's always good to hear that and see exactly what it is. And often it's benign, but sometimes it's something to be concerned about.
Right.
So, kind of with the advent of online banking, you've got that instant feedback and you can check, very, very quickly to see if there's a charge you didn't authorize on there.
Okay.
The next thing that I want to kind of push is to, if you do get an unauthorized charge, immediately call the bank and have that card canceled. Sometimes you have to call the credit card company, sometimes you have to call the bank, but usually if you can identify which account it was from, you can just call the number on the back of that card.
Cancel it and they'll send you a new card, then you start from scratch.
They'll send you a new card. That would be the first thing, because as soon as you can do that, they can't use the card anymore and charge more. Once that's done, then you can call the police. Just call your local police wherever you live.
Okay. And then how about on the merchant side of it all?
So on the merchant side, it's kind of a two-pronged approach. You can't have fraud without someone actually charging the card. So for vendors, I know everyone's probably seen the new chips that are coming out in cards. We want to make sure that as many vendors as possible are actually charging with those chips instead of swiping or keying it in. Instead
of swiping it, you actually push the card in.
Exactly.
And it'll do its thing, then it'll tell you when you can remove the card.
Exactly. Okay. Part of the reason for that is that it's extremely cheap and it's very easy to buy credit card magnetic strip imprinters on the internet. They're just a couple $100s. So people can manufacture fake credit cards very quickly.
Huh.
They can't do that with the chips, at least not yet. So the chips are a lot more secure.
Okay. I have a question. So I got an email recently.
Mm-hmm.
It was from a prince in Nigeria.
Lucky you.
So, of course, I went through the process. No, tell us about those. That's what we talked about. So that's email fraud and things happening that people may not really be aware of. So what's that all about?
So a lot of times people are just sending out massive emails to see whoever they can catch up to send them money. Sometimes they do it by phone, sometimes they do it by email. The biggest thing is when you get an email like that, obviously not sending any money, not replying to it, just ignoring it. Making a report to the local police department often doesn't do a whole lot because obviously my jurisdiction is just the town of Vail.
Right.
When someone is sending it from out of country, there's not a lot I can do. However, the FBI has a website called ic3.gov that they request anyone who's got a suspicious email like that or who has been fraudulently or they've given money fraudulently to one of these schemes to make a report on that website so that they can compile it and actually take it internationally.
And if there's, like you said, if there's 5,000 people that have reported the same email, then they can really see that there's a big issue with it.
Exactly,
okay.
And they can kind of track it and know that there's a big problem with that particular email.
Okay. Eric, thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate it.
That's good information. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Once
for
again,
having me,
Eric
sir.
Bonta with the Vail Police Department. Credit card fraud, you can go to that website, ic3, the number 3.gov. If you have an email, fraudulent email, you think is fraudulent, you want to report it. Don't give out any money, people. Keep your stuff safe and keep track of your credit card statements, and it'll help secure your funds moving forward, so to speak. Ashley has a look at the snow in the forecast, the drop in the temperatures, and the weather for the day coming up next.